40 years ago, this dog didn't exist, like at all. There was no such thing. Then a guy named Wally Conron, he worked at a guide dog outfit in Australia, got a letter. Woman in Hawaii needs a guide dog, but her husband's allergic to dogs. So Wally's stuck. He tries Poodles first, a whole string of them, hoping one'll work as a guide dog and not set off the allergies. None of them cut it. So he crosses a Labrador with a standard Poodle, and there it is, the Labradoodle, 1989. And the part that kills me, Wally spent the rest of his life basically apologizing for it, called it his Frankenstein's monster, said he opened a can of worms. Because what he'd actually done, kind of by accident, was invent a word. Labradoodle just sounds good. Sounds friendly, sounds soft. People heard it and went, yeah, I want that. Don't even know what it is, want it anyway. That's the whole origin story. One dog for one allergic guy, 1989. And now they're everywhere. Goldendoodles, Bernedoodles, Cavapoos, Sheepadoodles, whatever the poo. You can't walk through a nice neighborhood without tripping over 3 of them. They quietly became the default family dog, and nobody really voted on it. It just sort of happened. The all-American family pet is a thing some Australian cooked up 30-odd years ago to solve one woman's problem, and somehow it ate the whole market. Every Doodle breeder's website reads like the same Mad Lib. Smart like a poodle, sweet like a golden, doesn't shed, great with kids, basically a dog with all the inconvenient parts removed. And honestly, I get it. On paper, that's the dog you'd build in a lab if you could. The whole pitch leans on this thing breeders love called hybrid vigor. Cross 2 breeds, and the puppy supposedly grabs the best of both and dodges the inherited problems. Sounds great. Trouble is, genetics didn't read the brochure. Cross a poodle with a lab, and that puppy could go any number of ways. Some land closer to the poodle, some closer to the lab, and some unlucky ones get the poodle's anxiety bolted on to a lab's need to run 8 miles a day, which is, yeah, a lot of dog. And the whole perfect family dog line kind of collapses the second you meet a bunch of them. There's no breed standard, no kennel club anywhere going, okay, this is what a Goldendoodle is. So one Goldendoodle's calm and easygoing, and the next one's launching off the back of the couch, and they're technically the same thing. I'm not saying they're bad dogs, they're not. Loads of them are great. My point is, the marketing sold you a guarantee, and a guarantee is the one thing a crossbred dog physically cannot hand you. You're getting a good shot at a lovely dog, same as you'd get with any dog. You just paid a premium for the curls. The thing people are actually allergic to isn't dog hair. It's a protein, CAN1 if you want the technical name. And it lives in the dander and the saliva, even the urine. The hair's just the delivery truck that flings it around your house. So when a breeder calls a dog hypoallergenic, what they sort of mean is low shedding, and they're betting you won't notice those aren't the same thing. Now, poodles do shed less. That's true. Less loose hair flying around means less dander getting flung onto your couch, so people with mild allergies genuinely do better around them. Real effect. But cross a poodle with a lab, a dog that sheds like it's getting paid for it, and you've got no clue what coat that puppy ends up with. This is the F1, F1B stuff. An F1 is a straight first-generation cross, 50-50. And coat-wise, it's a total crapshoot. Could come out curly, could come out shedding all over your car. An F1B gets bred back to a poodle, so it's roughly 75% poodle, and way more likely to land that tight, low-shed coat. Breeders charge extra for those. Of course they do. And the thing nobody tells you, even a flawless poodle coat still throws off dander. There's still saliva. A truly allergic person can absolutely react to a doodle, sometimes hard. The guy who invented the Labradoodle did it for that woman in Hawaii. Well, for her husband's allergies. And out of the first litter of 3 pups, only one didn't set him off. The original Doodle kind of flunked the one job it was built for. And we've been selling the dream ever since. There's actual research on this, like peer-reviewed stuff. Humans are hardwired to respond to round faces, big eyes, soft features. It's called Kindchen schema, baby schema, whatever you want to call it. It's the same reason you go, "aw," at a puppy, and not like an iguana. Your brain literally can't help it. And Doodles, they hit every single one of those triggers. The round head, the floppy ears, the curly coat that makes them look like a stuffed animal someone left on the couch. It's almost unfair. A German Shepherd looks like a dog. A Doodle looks like something a Disney animator sketched on a napkin. I think people underestimate how much this matters. We like to pretend we pick dogs based on temperament, exercise needs, compatibility with our lifestyle. And yeah, sure, some people do. But most people see a Doodle at the park and their brain just short circuits. They want one. They don't even know why yet. They'll figure out the reasons later. And breeders know this. Oh, they absolutely know this. That's why every Doodle listing has like 14 photos, and they're all the same angle, slightly from above, big round eyes looking up, mouth open just a little. It's calculated. Not in a sinister way, I guess. More like they figured out what sells. The wild part is it works on people who say it won't work on them. I've seen guys, big dudes, truck guys, I want a real dog guys, meet a Goldendoodle and just melt completely. They're holding this thing like a baby within 45 seconds. The teddy bear thing isn't a marketing gimmick. It's biology. And biology doesn't care about your preferences. A golden retriever will tolerate a toddler pulling its ear. A Labrador will let a kid climb on it. Fine. But a Doodle, and I mean a well-bred one, from a breeder who actually knows what they're doing, a Doodle will actively seek the kid out, like follow them around the house, sit next to them while they watch cartoons. Just be there. Part of that is the poodle brain. Poodles are scary smart, second most intelligent breed, right behind border collies, and that intelligence translates into this weird social awareness. They read rooms, they read people, they figure out pretty fast that the small human is fragile and loud and drops food constantly, and honestly, that's a great deal if you're a dog. But the other part, and I think this is the part nobody talks about enough, is energy matching. Kids are chaos, just pure, unfiltered chaos. And Doodles kind of match that. They're goofy, they bounce, they do that thing where they get the zoomies at exactly the wrong time. A kid running in circles in the backyard is a nightmare for a basset hound. For a Doodle, that's just Tuesday. And then there's the allergy thing, which, okay, look, no dog is truly hypoallergenic, that's a myth. But Doodles shed less, way less, depending on the coat type. And when you've got a kid with mild allergies and the pediatrician says, maybe consider a low-shedding breed, guess what pops up first on every single list? Every single one. So you've got a dog that's smart, gentle, goofy, good with chaos, and doesn't leave hair on every surface in your house. For a family with young kids, that's the whole checklist. Okay, this one's gonna sound mean, but I don't think it is. Doodles are a status symbol. Not like a Rolex or a sports car. More like a Peloton or a Vitamix. It's aspirational domestic. It says we have our life together, and also our dog is cute. Walk through any upper middle class neighborhood, like the kind with matching mailboxes and HOA rules about lawn height, and count the Doodles. I'm serious, count them. You'll run out of fingers before you run out of block. And they're not cheap. A Goldendoodle from a decent breeder runs you $2,000–$3,000. Some of the mini ones, the ones with the teddy bear cut, $4,000, $5,000 sometimes. That's before the grooming, which is every 6 to 8 weeks, $70 to $100 a pop. You're spending more on dog maintenance than some people spend on their car. But here's what's kind of interesting about it. Nobody admits this is what's happening. Nobody says, I got a Doodle because everyone on my street has one, and I wanted to fit in. They say it's about the temperament, the hypoallergenic thing, the kids. And yeah, all of that's real, but the social pressure part is also real. It's just invisible, or at least everyone pretends it is. There's this feedback loop, right? One family on the block gets a Doodle. The kids love it. The neighbors see it at the bus stop. Now 2 more families are Googling breeders. 6 months later, there are 4 Doodles on the same cul-de-sac, and nobody thinks that's weird. It's not a conspiracy, it's just how trends work, and Doodles are, whether you like it or not, a trend. Poodles, actual poodles, not the Doodle crosses, we'll get there, consistently rank in the top 5 for canine intelligence. Top 5 out of like 200 breeds. And that's not some internet poll. That's Stanley Korn's work, the guy who literally wrote the book on dog intelligence. So when you cross a poodle with, well, almost anything, you're injecting a pretty serious cognitive upgrade into the gene pool. And you can tell. You can just tell. Doodle owners, and I know, people love to hate on Doodle owners, but they'll all say the same thing. The dog figures stuff out, like weirdly fast. You show a Goldendoodle where the treats are hidden once, and that cabinet is compromised forever. Done. Game over. Now, does every single Doodle inherit that poodle-level problem solving? No, that's not how genetics works. You're rolling dice with a mixed breed. Sometimes you get the poodle brain, sometimes you get whatever the other parent brought to the table. But on average, across the board, Doodles tend to land somewhere between surprisingly sharp and, okay, this dog is smarter than my cousin. And here's why that matters for families specifically. Smart dogs learn house rules faster. They pick up on routines. Kids are unpredictable, loud, grabby, running around like maniacs. And a dog that can read the room, that can sort of calibrate, is a dog that fits into chaos without losing its mind. That's a huge selling point for parents who don't want to spend 6 months just getting the dog to stop jumping on the toddler. I think people underestimate how much intelligence drives compatibility, like way more than size, way more than energy level. Okay, so 2015, 2016, somewhere around there, Instagram's algorithm starts really favoring pet content, like aggressively. And what does well on Instagram? Cute, fluffy, photogenic, a face that looks like a stuffed animal came to life. You know what checks every single one of those boxes? A Doodle. And it just snowballed. One account gets 50,000 followers, then another. Then there's a Bernedoodle in a raincoat with 2 million followers and a merch line. And suddenly every young couple scrolling through their feed is seeing these dogs. Not at a shelter, not at a breeder's website, but in their living room, on their phone, looking like the perfect accessory for their apartment and their lifestyle and their aesthetic. Which, I mean, that's marketing. That's incredibly effective marketing, even if nobody planned it. The thing is, most traditional breeds don't photograph like that. A German Shepherd looks like a German Shepherd. A Lab looks like a Lab. Fine dogs, great dogs, but they look like dogs. Doodles look like cartoon characters. They've got the teddy bear face, the ridiculous curly coat, the big round eyes. They're algorithmically optimized, basically. Not on purpose, but the effect is the same. And breeders noticed. Oh, they noticed fast. Because suddenly the demand wasn't, I want a good family dog. It was, I want that dog, the one from Instagram, the apricot one with the bandana. Specific colors, specific sizes, specific vibes. People were shopping for dogs the way they shop for furniture, and breeders responded by producing exactly what the algorithm wanted. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm saying it happened, and it changed everything about how these dogs get sold. The original Labradoodle, the actual intentional, let's try this Labradoodle, was bred in Australia in 1989. Wally Conron, guide dog program. He was trying to create a hypoallergenic guide dog for a blind woman whose husband had allergies. That's it. That was the whole idea. One specific solution for one specific problem. And it kinda worked. Kinda. The dog was smart, trainable, low shedding. People heard about it. And then everybody lost their minds. Because within a decade, you've got Goldendoodles, then Aussie Doodles, Sheepadoodles, Schnoodles, which, that name alone should have been a red flag, Bernedoodles, Cavapoos, Cockapoos, Irish Doodles. I've seen someone selling something called a Bordoodle, which is a border collie poodle mix. And honestly, at that point, you're just putting oodle on anything that moves. And Conran himself, this is the part that kind of gets me. He's gone on record saying he regrets it. The guy who started the whole thing looks at what it became and basically says, I opened Pandora's box. Because what happened is breeders realized you could slap Doodle on any poodle cross and charge $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a puppy with zero standardization, no breed standard, no health testing requirements, no consistency in temperament or coat type or size, just vibes and a cute name. Some of these crosses make sense. Some are genuinely good dogs. But the explosion wasn't driven by careful breeding philosophy. It was driven by demand, pure demand. And when demand outpaces any kind of oversight, you get an empire, a messy, adorable, extremely profitable empire. You talk to Doodle owners long enough, and the same word keeps coming up. Easy. Not easy like a golden who just wants to please you. Not easy like a lab who'll eat anything and sleep anywhere. Easy like the dog just fits. Whatever your life looks like, the dog figures it out. And honestly, that tracks. You've got poodle brains in there, and poodles are wicked smart, like top 5 breed smart. But then you've got this goofy retriever energy smoothing out the edges. So you don't get that neurotic, high-strung thing some poodles can do. You get a dog that learns fast, but doesn't, hold it over you. A dog that's clever enough to figure out the baby gate latch, but dumb enough to still chase its own tail. That's a weirdly appealing combination. And then there's the look. They're ridiculous, in a good way. That teddy bear face, the floppy ears, the whole I was drawn by a children's book illustrator vibe. People stop you on the street. Kids lose their minds. Your Instagram blows up. That stuff matters to people, and I don't think there's anything wrong with admitting it. You want a dog that's fun to look at? Fine, so does everyone. But the real thing, the thing I think actually explains why Doodles are eating the market, is there a compromise that doesn't feel like a compromise? You want smart, but not intense. Affectionate, but not clingy. Active, but not a border collie who's gonna herd your kids into corners. Hypoallergenic-ish, we'll get into that. But still a real dog. Not a purse dog, not a project dog. Just a dog that works, for most people, most of the time. That's kind of the whole pitch. $1,400, $2,000. I've seen listings, I swear, for $3,500 for a mixed breed. And look, I'm not saying mixed breeds are bad. I'm saying the pricing tells you something about what's actually happening here. And what's actually happening is a gold rush. When a dog gets this popular this fast, the breeding side turns ugly because the money's too good. You don't need a kennel club registration. You don't need health testing. I mean, you should, but nobody's checking. You don't need a wait list or a reputation or 20 years of breeding experience. You need a poodle, a retriever, and a website. Maybe a cute Instagram. That's it. You're in business. And that's where the problems start. Hip dysplasia, Addison's disease, progressive retinal atrophy, epilepsy, stuff that responsible breeders screen for, stuff you can actually test the parent dogs for before you breed them, just doesn't get done. Because the puppy mill guy in Missouri doesn't care. The backyard breeder selling mini Goldendoodles, family raised, ready now, on Facebook doesn't care. They care about moving puppies. So you get dogs with bad hips at 3, dogs with skin problems nobody warned you about, dogs with temperaments that are all over the place because nobody thought about which poodle they were crossing with which golden. They just grabbed 2 dogs and let it happen. And the kicker is, the people buying these dogs, they're doing research. They're reading blog posts, they're watching, videos like this one probably. They think they're being careful, but the pipeline feeding them puppies is, in a lot of cases, just broken, totally broken. "10 years ago, if you walked into any suburban neighborhood, any park, any vet's office, it was Goldens and Labs, everywhere, like overwhelmingly. They were the default. You wanted a family dog, you got a Golden or a Lab, and nobody even thought about it. It was just what you did. And now? I mean, they're still popular, obviously, but something shifted. AKC registrations for Labs have been sliding since around 2020, 2021. Goldens are holding steadier, but even they're not growing the way they used to. And meanwhile, Doodles, which don't even show up in AKC numbers because they're not a recognized breed, are just everywhere. Goldendoodles, Labradoodles, Bernedoodles, Aussie Doodles. Walk through any dog park in America right now and count. You'll run out of fingers. So what happened? Did Labs and Goldens suddenly get worse? No, they're the same dogs they've always been. Great temperament, great with kids, reliable. But reliable comes with baggage. Labs shed like it's their actual job. Goldens shed like it's their calling from God. And this is the part nobody likes saying out loud. Both breeds have serious health problems now. Cancer rates in Goldens are just brutal. Something like 60% of Goldens die of cancer. 60. That number should make you angry, honestly, because a lot of it traces back to how narrow the breeding pool has gotten. Labs aren't much better. Hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, obesity issues that vets have been yelling about for decades. And people started noticing. Not breeders. Breeders already knew. Regular families. The ones Googling best family dog at 11 p.m. after their kid begs for a puppy. Those people started asking different questions, and the answers kept pointing the same direction. Okay, let's pump the brakes for a second, because there's a version of this conversation that turns into a Doodle infomercial, and I don't want to do that. Are Doodles good family dogs? Yeah, a lot of them are great family dogs. The temperament you get from crossing a poodle with a golden or a lab, you're combining 2 of the most trainable, people-oriented breeds on the planet. That's not nothing. Kids can be loud and grabby and weird, and most Doodles just roll with it. They're adaptable. They're social. They kind of match the chaos energy of a household with small humans in it. But, and this is a big but, perfect is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence. Because Doodles are not low-maintenance dogs. They're really not. People hear hypoallergenic and doesn't shed, and their brain fills in easy. And that's not accurate at all. The coat thing alone, I mean, a Goldendoodle's coat is basically a full-time commitment. You're brushing every other day, minimum. Professional grooming every 6 to 8 weeks. And if you skip it, mats. Painful, skin-pulling mats that sometimes have to be shaved down completely. I've seen, well, groomers post about this constantly. Dogs coming in so matted, they basically need to start over. And then there's the energy. Poodles are working dogs. People forget that. They're smart, they're athletic, they need stuff to do. So you cross that with a retriever, another working breed, and you get a dog that needs real exercise, real mental stimulation, not just a backyard. A bored doodle will redecorate your house for you, free of charge. So perfect? Kind of depends on what you mean by perfect. Regardless of everything, you need to be a perfect parent for these beautiful dogs.